Hello all, myself Dr. Vartya Jagan, working as associate professor in the TB department, BIT. So in this video lecture, I am going to explain about the speed control of DC series motor fed from single phase semi-controlled converter and fully controlled converter. So now, if you see the last video lecture, there I have discussed about the single phase separately excited DC motor drives and their speed torque characteristics at different values of firing angle when it is fed from semi-controlled converter and fully controlled converter. So here also we are going to see the speed torque characteristics variation of a DC series motor when it is fed from single phase semi-controlled converter and single phase fully controlled converter. First we will see the single phase semi-controlled converter connected to DC series motor. Then we'll go for single phase fully controlled converter. Right? Here you can see the single phase DC series motor drive system. Right? So now you can see here. Right. So here it is a single phase AC supply with 230 volts 50 Hz frequency, which is AC supply with terminals phase and neutral. Right. Then this AC is converted into DC with the help of the rectifier circuit. Now the rectifier may be a semi-controlled converter or it can be a fully controlled converter. We'll see one by one. When it is fed from semi-controlled converter, what could be the EA here? When it is fed from fully controlled converter, what could be the EA here? Right? And here you can see RA1, LA1 are the resistance of the armature winding and resistance of the field winding. Similarly, LA1 is the inductance of the series field winding and inductance of the armature winding. So LA1 includes the resistance of both armature and field winding. LA1 includes the inductance of both series field winding and the armature winding. Right? So now this is the electrical equivalent circuit where the armature winding and the field winding, they are connected in series. So instead of this, you may have the armature and the field winding which are connected in the series. Let me draw that circuit so that you will come to know the electrical equivalent circuit, how they are replaced. Now here you will be having the field winding and the armature winding of the motor. Right? They are connected in series because it is a series motor. So armature field winding is having two terminals, F and FF. Right? And armature winding is there inside this armature. Right? So now this complete field winding and the armature winding is replaced with electrical equivalent circuit, and it is like this. Right? So this is the electrical equivalent circuit of a DC series motor. Now first we will see some basic equations for a DC series motor. Then we will go through the different types of converter. Right? So this is the back EMF KFI into N for a DC machine, and where flux phi has two components because field winding is connected in series with armature. So the field winding is having some residual flux. So the phi has residual flux and the armature flux, where phi A is the flux produced by the armature circuit and phi A is the flux produced due to residual magnetism. And for magnetic linearity, phi A equal to kf into Ia. And if you substitute in place of phi A plus phi R, phi residual, then A will be something like this. And if you separate these terms, Ka, instead of phi A, I can write kf into Ia plus phi residual into N. So if you separate, this is the expression for Eg, and K is constant, phi residual is also constant. So this you can write K residual. So Eg equal to KAF. So this I can write Ka into Kf, which is also constant. So KAF into Ia into N plus K residual into N. So from here I can write, I can take N common because these two terms consist of N. So N into KAF into Ia plus K residual is the back EMF in the motor armature terminal, right? And the torque developed by the machine is given by Ka phi A into Ia. Just now we have seen phi A equal Kf into Ia. So if you substitute here in place of phi A, so Ka into Kf into Ia, because phi A equal Kf into Ia, Ia, it will be Ia square. So instead of Ka into Kf, I can write Kaf. So the torque will be square of the current, right? Now, the armature circuit voltage is given by IaRa plus La into dAf by dt plus Eg. So here Ra1 into IL1 actually, because Ra includes the resistance of the armature winding and the field winding. La1 includes the resistance of armature, inductance of armature winding and the field winding. So if you take the average of this one, you will get Ea equal to IaRa plus Eg, right? From this, I can write Eg equal to Ea minus IaRa. So we know in the previous slide that Ea equal to N into Kf plus Ia plus K residual. So from this expression, I can write the speed expression. So speed is equal to Ea minus IaRa divided by Kaf into Ia plus K residual, right? So now this is a speed expression in case of series motor where IEA is different for semi-controlled converter and it is fully controlled converter, right? So we'll see the speed for these two converters, right? Similarly, you can see, right? So now we'll see the speed torque characteristics of DC series motor when it is fed from a single phase semi-controlled converter. Now you can see here single phase, here you can see it is a single phase AC supply with 230 volts 50 Hz. Semi-controlled converter, here you can see the semi-controlled converter with freewheeling diode, which consists of S1 S2 the thyristors, D1 D2 are the diodes, and DFW is the freewheeling diode, and connected to DC series motor. Here you can see the series motor electrical equivalent circuit. This is the series motor electrical equivalent circuit, RA1, LA1, and the back EMF, right? So now we will see the behavior of this DC series motor when it is fed from semi-controlled converter. Now here you can see in case of, as we have discussed in the last video, you just recall those points because the input to the semi-controlled converter is the AC supply, you can see here, right? And you can see the back EMF. Eg is the back EMF here. So to get control over the DC motor, the input voltage should be higher than the back EMF. These are the steady state responses. Now here you can say, if this is, I can say theta1 where input voltage and back EMF, they are intersecting. Here it is theta2. Similarly, if you consider the negative half cycle, you will get two more intersection point, theta3 and theta4. So between theta1 and theta2, the input voltage more than the supply voltage. Input voltage more than the back EMF. So our alpha should be more than theta 1. So it is more than theta 1. So, again, if you recall the equivalent circuit, right? So this is the equivalent circuit for semi-controlled converter, which consists of two diodes and two thyristors, right? So where the motor is connected here, let us say the field winding and the armature winding, this is connected like this, and this is fed from single phase supply like this, right? Where it is S1, S2, D2, and D1, right? Now, during this interval from theta 1 to theta 2, the input voltage is more, which means P is at higher potential than the N, right? So if that is the case, switches S1 and D2, they are in forward bias condition, whereas the switch S2 and D1, they are in reverse bias condition. So I can replace the reverse bias devices with open circuit like this, right? Now, to get power from source to load, I need to trigger S1. D1, it is in forward bias condition. So at the moment it is, D2, it is in forward bias condition. At the moment D2 is in forward bias condition, it will conduct and replace by short circuit. So to get current flow from source to load and back to the source, I need to trigger S1, which is in forward bias condition. So S1 is triggered at this particular point. So from this particular point onwards, the output voltage has to follow the input voltage. So it is following the input voltage from this particular point onwards. Up to pi it will follow. So that is why you can see the voltage across the motor armature terminal will be something like this. And during this positive half cycle, this inductor is charging. So you can see the load current is having charging current like this, right? Then after pi, you'll be having freewheeling diode here. The freewheeling diode comes into picture and it will conduct, right? That means this terminal X and Y, they are short circuited by this freewheeling diode. So the load voltage will be 0. So that is why you can see the load voltage equals 0, right? Similarly, if you want to see the voltage waveform during the negative half cycle, so let us see the negative half cycles. Okay, so during negative half cycle, it will be your negative half cycle output voltage waveform. So again, this is if I assume theta 3 and this is as theta 4. So between theta 3 and theta 4, the input voltage is more than the back EMF. That is why you can see at pi plus alpha, we are triggering the S2, because during this interval, this is associated with negative half cycle. So P will be connected to the negative and N will be connected to positive. And if that is the case, S1 and D2, they are in reverse bias condition. They are in reverse bias condition. That's why they are replaced with open circuit. And when you see the D1 and S2, D1, it is in forward bias condition. So at the moment it is in forward bias condition, is replaced by short circuit, right? And to get power transfer from source to load, I need to trigger S2. So S2 is triggered at pi plus alpha. So the current always leaves from positive terminal. It is leaving from N positive to S2 anode and cathode, load, and back to the source through D1 anode and cathode. So this is the direction of current which is flowing to the load from the source, right? So which means the output voltage following the input voltage from this particular point onward. So you can get this waveform across the load. That is why you can see here. And after 2 pi, the freewheeling diode comes into picture. It will get reverse forward bias and it will conduct. So the load is short circuited by this freewheeling diode. You will get 0 output voltage. Again, right? So during freewheeling action, you can see the discharging current. Here you can see. Here also you can see when the load voltage is 0, you can see the discharging current, right? So this portion I am talking about. So you can see the discharging currents, right? So this is the output voltage expression, output current, output voltage waveforms, output current waveform, and the input voltage waveforms. right? So if you know the waveforms, then you can calculate the average output voltage, right? Uh, right. So this is the semi converter with freewheeling action. The armature current, armature voltage expression, EA will be equal to IA IA1, IA into RA1, LA1 into ID DIA by DT plus CG. So this will be EA, and you can see some magnitude here. But from pi to pi plus alpha, the output voltage equals 0. Here you can see. So this terminal voltage equals 0 when the omega t is lying between pi and pi plus alpha, right? So due to symmetrical waveform, I can consider only the 1/2 cycle, right? So it will be 1 by pi, and from alpha to pi, we are getting some voltage across the load, which is Vm sin omega t into d omega t. So you integrate that one, substitute the upper limit or lower limit, will get the average voltage across the load. It is Vm by pi into 1 plus cos alpha, right? So this is the expression for EA in case of semi-controlled converter. Okay, so instead of EA, we'll substitute this one, Vm by pi 1 plus cos alpha. Again, if you want to see the variation of the average output voltage at different values of firing angle. So if you substitute alpha equals 0 here, cos 0 it is 1, it will be 1 plus 1, 2 Vm by pi. So here you can see at the alpha equal to 0 degrees. When alpha equal 90 degrees, cos 90, it is 0. So it is Vm by pi. Here you can see where the alpha equal 90 degrees, where it is Vm by pi. Again, when alpha equal 180 degrees, cos 180 it is -1 plus 1. This whole factor goes to 0. Here you can see the average output voltage across the motor armature terminal is 0, right? So this is the variation of the average output voltage at different values of firing angle alpha, right? Now we'll see the speed torque characteristics. Now in the last slide, if you see, this is the speed expression, which is EA minus IA RA divided by KAF into IA plus K residual. So just now we have derived for semi-controlled converter EA as Vm by pi 1 plus cos alpha. So you can substitute here in this expression. So it will be the speed expression now, right? And the torque developed by the DC series motor is Kf into Ia square, right? So now from this one I can write the torque expression. So this torque into Kf into this factor. Now from this expression, we are going to convert the expression in Ia terms. So here, and you square that one, that will get the torque expression is this much, right? Which is a rectangular hyperbola you will get, right? So now, because the torque is the square of the current here, square of the speed here. So now you can see here, it is a rectangular hyperbola. So at alpha equal to 0, this is the curve you can see, right? If I increase the alpha to 30 degrees, then the average output voltage will fall down. If the average output will fall down, the speed will reduce, right? So you can see the speed and torque curve at alpha equal 30, right? Similarly, if I increase the firing angle further to some 60 degrees, then there is a reduction in the average output voltage. If the average output voltage is reduced, then the speed will reduce further, right? So now you can see at alpha equal to 60 degrees. Similarly, at alpha equal 90 and at alpha equal 120 degrees. So these are the speed torque in case of DC series motor when it is fed from single phase semi-controlled converter, right? Similarly, we'll see the speed torque characteristics for the same motor when it is fed from fully controlled converter. Here it is, the converter is replaced by fully controlled converter. Now single phase, you can see it as single phase AC supply with 50 Hz frequency. Then semi-controlled, fully controlled converter, here you can see where the bridge is having 4 thyristors S1 to S4 and connected to DC series motor. So here you can see the electrical equivalent circuit of a DC series motor, right? Where RA1 includes the resistance of armature winding and the field winding. LA1 includes the inductance of the armature winding and the field winding, because they are connected in series. So they have added together, right? Now here you can see the waveforms. So now it is a fully controlled converter. So there is a change in the output voltage waveform. So now you can see I have applied triggering first to S1 and S2, 3 at the same time. So let me redraw the circuit configurations once again. Here we'll be having 4 thyristors, right? So since it is a fully controlled converter, and here we'll be having the DC series motor where the armature and the field winding, they are connected in series, right? Now it is connected to phase, leg B is connected to neutral, and S1, S2, S3 and S4 are the switches. Now during positive half cycle, so it will be at higher potential, it will be at lower potential. If that is the case, S2, S4, they are in reverse bias condition, you can remove them. Then to get a positive voltage across the load from positive half cycle, I need to trigger S1 and S3 at the same time. So at omega t equal to alpha, the firing pulses are given to S1 and S3 at the same time. They will conduct and they will carry the current. So current always leaves from higher potential, which is P positive, S1 anode and cathode, inductor L armature, S3 anode and cathode, and back to the source like this, right? So from omega t equal to alpha onwards, the output voltage has to follow the input voltage. So now you can see it is following the input voltage. We don't know up to what extent it will follow. That depends upon the energy stored in the inductance. So you can see the charging current during the positive half cycle, alpha to pi. Then after pi, the current will discharge. You can say the discharging current. There is a reduction in the magnitude of the armature current. So the discharging may take place here, the discharging may take place here. That depends on the value of inductor. So up to this particular instant, the output voltage is following the input voltage. That is why you can see the negative peak also here. There is no freewheeling diode here. That is why you are getting this negative peak here. Okay, and during negative half cycle, we will see. So this is what during negative half cycle. So during negative half cycle, P will be now negative and N is connected to positive. So if that is the case, S1, S3, they are in reverse bias condition. Okay, and S2, S4, they are in forward bias condition. So to get control over the speed, I need to trigger S2 and S4 at the same time because they are in forward bias condition with respect to input supply. So if I trigger S2 and S4 at the same time at pi plus alpha, so current always leaves from positive terminal. It is leaving from N positive, right, through S2 anode and cathode, through load, field winding, armature winding, S4 anode and cathode, and back to the P negative. So this is the direction of current which is flowing through the circuit, right? So that means from pi plus alpha onwards, the output voltage is following the input voltage, which means the output voltage, output load and the source, they are connected parallelly. So from this particular point onward, the output voltage will follow the input voltage. So now you can see the output voltage waveform like this, right? So this is during positive and negative half cycles, where you can see the symmetrical waveforms at the output side because the thyristors are triggered symmetrically, right? So now you can to derive the average output voltage. So from pi to pi plus alpha, this point we are getting some voltage which is Vm sin omega t. So you can see here, which is IA into RA1 plus LA1 into dA by dt plus Cg. So this is from alpha to pi plus alpha, right? So due to symmetrical waveform, I can consider only one half cycle. That is why I took 1 by pi alpha to pi plus alpha. Here you can see this portion. It is from alpha to pi plus alpha. This voltage varying with respect to Vm sin omega t into d omega t. So Vm, I can take common Vm by pi, integration of sin omega t, which is minus cos omega t, and substitute the upper limit or lower limit, will get the average output voltage as 2 into Vm by pi cos alpha, where alpha is the firing angle, Vm is the √2 times the supply voltage, right? So now, if you want to see the variation of this average output voltage with respect to alpha, now you can substitute alpha equal to 0, it will be cos 0, it is 1, it will be 2 Vm by pi. Here you can see that alpha equal 0 for full controlled converter with a dotted line, right? At alpha equal 90, cos 90, it is 0 multiplied by something, you will get 0. So the output voltage is changing from 2 Vm by pi to 0 when alpha equal 90 degrees, right? At alpha equal 180 degrees, you will get -1, cos 180 -1. Then you will get -2 Vm by pi is the magnitude, right? So this is for fully controlled converter. We have also seen with semi-controlled converter. And the conclusion here is that for the same firing angle alpha, let us say at alpha equals some 30 degrees, right? Average output voltage in case of semi-controlled converter is more when compared to the fully controlled converter. Similarly, at alpha equals some 60 degrees here, the average output voltage in case of semi-controlled converter is more when compared to the fully controlled converter. If the average output voltage is more, the speed will be more in case of semi-controlled converter for the same firing angle alpha, right? That you can see in the speed torque characteristics, right? Here you can see the speed expression. We all know it is EA minus IARA divided by KF into IA plus K raised to R. So instead of EA, I can substitute 2 Vm by pi cos alpha, right? So in terms of torque, the torque in terms of speed, this is the expression, right? Only this time is changing here. Instead of Vm by pi 1 plus cos alpha, it will be 2 Vm by pi cos alpha, right? So now, see, at alpha equals 0, the speed for the semi-controlled converter and fully controlled converter will be same, because this factor will get 2 Vm by pi in case of fully controlled converter. Even in case of semi-controlled converter also will get 2 Vm by pi, right? And at alpha equal 30 degrees, the speed will be more in case of semi-controlled converter. Here you can see with dotted line, and speed will be less in case of fully controlled converter because the reduction in the average output voltage. Similarly, at alpha equals 60 degrees, you can see is a speed for semi-controlled converter and is a speed for fully controlled converter, right? So to get for the same firing angle alpha, the average output voltage is more in case of semi-controlled converter. That is why speed will be more in case of semi-controlled converter when compared to the fully controlled converter. So this is all about the single phase DC motor drive when it is fed from semi-controlled converter and fully controlled converter. Thank you. We will solve some problems in the next class.